Welcome to the Google site I created for a unit on linear equations in Algebra 1. The purpose of this website is to provide multimedia instruction and assessments for students in my Algebra 1 class. Let me show you around this website. On the far left you see the navigation bar. The first option is the home screen, which you are at now, which is an introduction. The next option is technology resources. This page has a variety of the resources that I use throughout my unit, a short description of each one, and a link to each specific technology resource. The next option is called the Learners. This describes both the learning environment and the learners in my classroom. Then the next portion, or the majority of this website, includes the 8 lessons that I created for this unit. Each lesson, if you click on it, includes the components, objectives, standards, assessments, and activities, as well as samples of what the students will be doing in each lesson. This first lesson uses stations and an educreations video to teach the students how to find slope using tables, graphs, equations, and points. The next lesson builds off this idea of slope and has the students discovering how the relationship of slope in both parallel and perpendicular lines. Again, I listed the standards and assessments. And the main part of this lesson, the technology used, is a GeoGebra interactive worksheet, which allows the students to move around the slope of one line and see how that impacts the parallel and perpendicular lines and their slopes. The third lesson is introduced by a YouTube video that I created using annotations, which teaches the students about the different characteristics of lines. But the majority of this lesson uses a game called Polygraph Lines on Desmos. This is a game very similar to Guess Who. The students are paired up electronically on their iPads, and they need to ask each other yes and no questions until they can discover the line that their partner has chosen. The fourth lesson is really getting to the students to learn about the slope-intercept form, how it is used to graph, what it looks like, the different characteristics. It is introduced using a song on YouTube, and then they are practicing this concept using 2 different games called Save the Zogs as well as Kahoot. Each of these games gives students feedback and a lot of practice using this concept so that they can attain mastery of slope-intercept form. The next lesson builds off of this slope-intercept form and has the student writing the equations of lines and changing the domain and range of each of these lines so that they can create an image using the Desmos online calculator. If their equations or domain and range are incorrect, the students will know immediately because their lines will not be where they want to be. This really increases the problem solving used throughout this lesson. The next 3 lessons, lessons 6 through 8, build off of these linear equations and has the students working on systems of equations. The first lesson, 6, has the students using graphing technology to discover what a solution looks like on both a table and a graph. They will use this using a guided discovery using their graphing calculators, and then they'll be able to submit to show me exactly where they identified both of their solutions on the table and the graph. Lesson 7 uses systems of equations, and it has the students creating Google spreadsheets to model real-world scenarios so that they can solve these systems using a spreadsheet. The lesson begins with an introduction of a YouTube video which teaches students how to use Google spreadsheets, specifically how to create simple formulas within Google spreadsheets. And then it has students creating their own spreadsheets to solve different problems, different real-world problems. And the last lesson is solving systems using algebra tiles. Solving systems of equations is a very abstract concept, and so I have this lesson which tries to teach them this by giving them the ability to practice it in a very concrete way using algebra tiles. These are an interactive and online tool that allows the students to see exactly what is happening when they're solving these algebra equations. I also have the students creating a screencast-o-matic, which gives them the opportunity to explain to me exactly how they are solving these problems. The last thing on this website is a collection of sample projects that the students will be creating throughout this unit. This allows you to see exactly what each of these different projects will look like as they go through the unit. Thanks for visiting.